Well, it's a dank, chill and misty morning this morning, starting to look really like fall. After Labor Day now. I've got the wheel in the hole of the table. So, we got another new little plane here today that I picked up on sale. This is the Flyzone DC-3 C-47. I came across this on sale for $88 Canadian, ready to fly. And having always been a big fan of the DC-3 as a real plane, and it's just a tremendously influential, tremendously well-designed plane. You know, it came out in the 30s, basically well ahead of its time, kind of pointed the way forward of civil aviation, essentially, and there's many of them still flying today, and most pilots who've flown it love it. Anyway, that's the real plane, not so much necessarily the RC version. So for $88 Canadian, ready to fly, I couldn't resist this, but I knew nothing about it when I bought it. I didn't know it existed. Since I've looked up information on it, and I can sort of see why they were selling them off half price, kind of, because it does not get good reviews as an RC plane. People have reported a number of different problems. One of the most obvious problems was that just this little wire landing gear, and the way that they ship it, the landing gear is so short that when if the plane comes up level on the ground, the propellers would be striking the ground. So a lot of people were just trying to take it off at asphalt and breaking their propellers right off. I have attempted to address this problem by creating new struts. These are not the original. They're original wheels, but they're not the original pieces of wire. I took piano wire and bent it and made the landing struts about 3/8 of an inch each longer than the original ones were. So hopefully, I mean, it's not massive amounts of clearance now, but it's got enough clearance that the wheels are going to hit the ground before the propeller and whatever, and it can be level on the ground. The propellers aren't hitting the ground. I almost wonder if I shouldn't have put even a little bit more on, but anyway. The other problem people have reported with it is that it kind of needs to fly at full power all the time, which is never good for something like this, because it's flying off two brushed motors off a little one-cell battery. So if you're having to fly it at full power all the time, it's not going to get much flight time, and obviously it's not very, it's not very friendly to have to fly at full power all the time. But that's what people say, that if you drop the power below full power, it just doesn't want to fly anymore particularly. Not a good sign. The only other RC DC-3 I've got is a GWS, one I built from a GWS kit. Much bigger than this. Not enormous though, about a 3.5 foot maybe wingspan, something like that. Quite honestly, that looks nice, but it flies like a dog, that does. It's not a good flyer. I've had it in the air a few times, but you can't really enjoy flying that one I built from the GWS kit. It's a struggle to get it in the air and fly it, and it does not fly well. Oh well, it certainly looks nice, eh? Yeah, I got the green version. I mean, I hesitate because it's more the civilian version of the plane they've modelled. I mean, the foam's exactly the same, of course, for the two versions. They've just painted this one green, but I didn't particularly like the paint scheme of the original, the civilian one. This is silver airliner with some fictitious airline logo on it. I don't know. This thing's got D-Day stripes on it, I see. And there were quite a lot of C-47s involved. Anyway, it's powered off a little one-cell battery. It is ready to fly, so it came with that. That's the battery that came with it. Now, I searched the manual backwards and forwards several times, and I couldn't find any reference to center of gravity other than the glossary at the back that says center of gravity means the point where the plane balances, but I couldn't see any indication where it was supposed to be. I'm assuming these two red marks are meant to be center of gravity marks. Not sure, but I'm assuming they are. And if I put the battery If I put the battery inside the fuselage there, which is where I tried putting it first, then the centre of gravity is right on the back one of those marks. So I decided to try putting the battery in the nose there, which puts the centre of gravity pretty much bang between those two marks. We'll see. Now, this is ready to fly. It comes with a little toy-grade transmitter. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I didn't particularly want to use that. So what I was intending to do was fly it with an AnyLink with my DX9, and that's how I've got it bound. I had it on the bench bound to that OK at home, so hopefully that will work. The one thing I do probably want to do is reduce the timer on it, because it isn't going to fly for very long if I've got to fly it at full power. 250 milliamp hour, one cell powering two motors. So let's just turn this on half a minute. Then what should we go to? Well, let's say 4 minutes. Even that could be optimistic, but we'll say 4 minutes. Okay, now we turn the transmitter off. I always find that a wee bit confusing. And then when you plug the wire in, the AnyLink makes it come on. You plug the wire into the trainer, and even though the transmitter is nominally, the switch is in the off position, it comes on.
Low rates, mid rates.
Well, I'll leave it on mid rates, I think. It didn't look to me as if the rates were making a heck of a lot of difference, to be perfectly honest. They do give you plenty of wire on the battery. It's got like this sub-micro connector. They give you plenty of wire, but you've got to be able to hold on to it. There you go. Oh yeah, it is bound. I thought it was going to make more dings than that, and you can see the receiver glowing red. Okay, right aileron, left aileron, right rudder, left rudder. For some reason the rudder is weird. The rudder goes way left more than it goes right. It's in the middle when it's balanced, but it goes way left, so you've got to be careful with the rudder. And that's not a good sign, is it? I mean, elevator up, elevator down. See what I mean about the rudder? If I give it right rudder, that's what I get. If I give it left rudder, I get that. If I go a little way, I'm okay, but if I go all the way to the left rudder, it sort of judders. Don't know what that's about. Don't like the look of it. Not good. We'll just try not to give it too much left rudder, I guess, if we get to that point. Now, I have put out...
Throttle cut off.
Yes, I do have throttle cut on it. I've put out, it's still kind of misty. I miss getting worse. I thought it was getting better. I certainly don't want to go far away in this mist. I don't know. I put out the runner, because this obviously isn't going to run on the grass. Oh, you have to go all the way up and down to arm it. And I see what they mean. Yes, it's a bugger to fly. I don't want to go too far away. Yeah, it just doesn't much want to fly. And I think they're right. You've got to give it like absolutely full power if you want to induce it to do anything much. It's just not very keen on flying. It's kind of underpowered, is the problem. Let's see if we can do any better. Yeah. Nope, not low. It's a bit of a bugger. You've definitely got to be careful you don't do that left rudder thing, else it gets all twitchy. It does have contra-rotating propellers, which means if you break the propellers, you've got to make sure you put the right one on. And they don't give you any spares or anything. I'm not actually running it at full power, however. This is not full throttle, despite what people said. I did have to punch it to get it going, definitely, and I barely got it going, as you saw. I almost had the bloody thing in the grass again. Whoops, and see, now it's stalled. That was definitely a stall. And it's already losing power, which is not surprising. Not very controllable, and I'm trying to bring it in, but it's going to stall, you see, unless I'm very careful. So, well, for a landing with one of these little planes, that's about all you can do. Just cut the power and let it tip over, because that's all it's going to do. Oh well, that may not look very thrilling, but I would consider that a successful first flight for something like this. Some vegetation on it there. You can take off okay with that undercarriage off a runner. It's kind of wet now, I'm afraid, but I wouldn't fly it for very long. I didn't actually have to fly it entirely at full throttle the entire time. I wouldn't say that, but it is pretty easy to stall, and we had a nasty stall over there. It doesn't stall, it stalls quite nastily. It drops, you know, like a lot of planes, so it drops down one-sided when it stalls, and it's easy to stall, so you've got to keep the power up pretty well. And landing it's a bit of a bugger, because you know you can't drop the power too much. You can't glide it in, because it's not going to glide, so you've got to fly it in under a fair bit of power. Anyway, not in any case, at least not a disaster. And I think we'll leave that as the maiden flight for today, and then we'll, I don't know, I don't think we're going to really make any more modifications, not particularly. And one chap did glue some permanent flaps in place to try and make it fly slower. But then he seemed to feel that made the stall characteristics worse, which doesn't sound as if it should have done, but who knows. Depends how they were working. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have another go, but not right now. Flyzone DC-3, or C-47 Skytrain, I guess, technically, or Dakota, the British called it, but this is in the US marking, so it would be a C-47.